Corazon Aquino, from housewife to president. I just do whatever it is that I believe I should do, regardless of the risk to my life. Even though Corazon Aquino had no political experience, she was still able to unite the people of the Philippines in a nonviolent protest against dictator Ferdinand Marcos, which eventually solidified her the position of presidency and restored Philippine democracy with a hope for a better future for the country. Corazon Aquino's story leaves a legacy that inspires women and politicians around the world to act without violence.
By the exercise of democracy, even in a dictatorship, they would be prepared for democracy when it came. And then also, it was the only way I knew by which we could measure our power, even in the terms dictated by the dictatorship.
Corazon Aquino was born in Tarlac, Philippines on January 25, 1933, to Jose Conjanco Sr. and Dementia Sumulong, both of which were from prominent and politically influential families. Corazon Aquino was the fourth of her 5 siblings and was very smart. Corazon Aquino moved to America when she was in high school and attended Ravenhill Academy, and she was an A-plus student and a very good person. She then went on to Notre Dame School, where she received her high school diploma. She went to college in Mount St. Vincent, earning a major in French and a minor in mathematics. Corazon Aquino then decided she wanted to pursue law and returned to Philippines to study in Far Eastern University. There, she reunited with her old childhood friend, Nino Aquino, and they fell in love. They eventually got married, and Corazon Aquino put off all her studies to raise her 5 kids and become a housewife. Cory Aquino's husband was a very successful politician. He was the youngest elected vice governor and also became the mayor and governor of Tarlac, Philippines. Cory supported him at home while raising the kids. Other than being known for being a successful politician, Nino Aquino was also known for criticizing the current president of the time, Ferdinand Marcos, by saying he was corrupt and only cared about power. This started the Marcos and Aquino dispute. On September 21, 1972, Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. He sent all his political opponents to prison in Fort Bonifacio, and one of them was Nino Aquino.
Everybody was fearful about their lives. There were many who were murdered because of this, and so the aura then was confusion, fear.
Nino Aquino was in prison for 7 years. In prison, Nino spent his days either watching Gandhi, praying, or writing against Marcos. Every time Cory would visit, she would always give him a sense of hope and listen to his ideas. The most memorable thing Nino Aquino did when he was in prison was having a hunger strike that lasted 40 days. This nearly ended his life. Marcos was so furious that Nino was sentenced to exile. But before being exiled, Nino got a heart attack and was sent to America for treatment. In America, he got better and gave speeches against Marcos. But then, Nino felt a sense of guilt leaving the Philippines, so he decided to return even after multiple warnings because the Filipinos were worth dying for.
You have to be very ready with your hand camera because this action can become very fast.
Yes.
In a matter of 3-4 minutes, it could be all over, you know. And I may not be able to talk to you again after this. So this is the danger, the big danger.
On August 21, 1983, a day after his last interview, Nino Aquino returned to the Philippines, only to be assassinated the moment he landed. Corazon Aquino returned to the Philippines heartbroken to attend her husband's funeral, where she vowed to continue her husband's opposition against Marcos and his dictatorship. As our country bled, its leader's wife came to this podium piously to call for a new human order, this when thousands of Filipinos were political prisoners. Corazon Aquino's return, she started holding protests and demonstrations against Ferdinand Marcos and quickly got the support of the people. With the help of Arch-Cardinal Bishop Jaime Sin and his radio station Radio Veritas, Corazon got more and more supporters, and people listened to her protests more and more. They used peace instead of war against dictator Ferdinand Marcos. In 1985, Ferdinand Marcos held a snap election upon public discontent and foreign allies pressuring him. At first, Corazon Aquino was hesitant to run, but after receiving 1 million signatures for her to run, she decided to go against Marcos with Salvador Laurel as her running mate. Throughout the whole campaign, Ferdinand Marcos was sexist to Corazon Aquino. He would say things like, "She's nothing but a woman," but she never let this get to her, and she would just simply reply, "Let's say who's the better woman." 1986, the elections were over, and the Commonwealth Commission of Elections announced Marcos as the winner, while the National Movement on Elections declared Cory as a winner. This caused a lot of controversy, and Cory called for a People's Power rally, with Jaime Sin's Radio Veritas broadcasting, and support from Marcos' former military men Juan Ponce Enrile and Fidel Ramos. Tons and tons of people joined in the rally, which is now known as the People Power Revolution. And on the last day of the protest, Cory took her inauguration as president, and Ferdinand Marcos fled to Hawaii. As I came to power peacefully, so shall I keep it.
During her presidency, democracy was reinstated, people became free to express and give information.
Corazon Aquino became the president with a promise that she will do her best. During her presidency, she faced a lot of problems, with first being the volcano eruption of Mount Pinatubo. During this eruption, there was a hurricane, which brought the lethal mix of ash and rain. Another problem she had during her presidency was that she had 6 coup attacks, and one of these attacks even bombed the presidential palace. The Philippines overall had problems, but with the help of foreign allies and political officers, she was able to do just fine. The good things that happened during her presidency was that she made the 1987 Constitution, which returned the rights of the people. She also paid off some of the debt that Marcos owed the World Bank, and she also helped Philippines in general with better treatment of the people. In 1992, Corazon Aquino surrendered her presidency to Fidel V. Ramos.
My courageous predecessor, former President Corazon C. Aquino, restored our civil liberties and then defended them tenaciously against repeated assaults from putschists and insurgents. She has made our democracy a fortress against tyrants. Now, we must use it to enable our people to take control of their lives, livelihood, and their future.
Corazon Aquino, even after her presidency, was very active in politics and helped when she could. In present time, her son, Benigno Aquino III, is now the president of the Philippines and is following his parents' footsteps. It is up to the women who are in positions of power and responsibility to push for equality that women aspire for and deserve. Cory Aquino's story and legacy leads girls around the world to aspire to become politicians, and it also inspires future politicians to act with peace and without violence. Even though Corazon Aquino had her critics like Ferdinand Marcos in his last speech to Cory Aquino, saying that one day you will see, 20 years from now the Philippines will fail, they would all be proven wrong in the end, because to this day, Philippines is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia today and is continuing to grow in the future. My hope is that more and more people will listen to Cory Aquino's story and learn from her peaceful resilience against dictator Ferdinand Marcos, and how she led the country with peace, patriotism, and leadership. Corazon will always be remembered by the Filipino people as the housewife who continued her husband's fight against dictatorship. She's the mother of Philippine democracy.
I admired her greatly. She was a woman of courage who loved her country. She and her family sacrificed so much to try to give the people of the Philippines a better future. And I think that she is an inspiration, not only to the Philippines, but to people everywhere who believe in the right values and a positive future.
Until today, the Filipino people is very happy about that. There is peace and order, etc. So thank you for President Aquino for restoring peace and order in the Philippines. Thank you.